people would think, हाँ तुम लोग का क्या है? You're gonna end up joining your father's business. So for me, it was always like, no, I have to prove myself. I, as an individual, am capable of doing something on my own, and not just because my father has done something well for himself.
Union government is now trying to push this product is because natural diamonds are mostly mined elsewhere, like say Africa or Americas. So with the lab-grown diamond production in India itself, you are saving in all those imports. So the cost gets deducted. You can grow the diamonds here, you can make the jewelry here in India itself, and then export that. So it will push the Indian economy as a whole.
The one with John Abraham and Northeast United was something that was a pleasant surprise to all of us. When they approached us to be their pouring partners, we were all like, wow. It was a very exciting opportunity, and it also gave us a lot of national recognition.
Growing up in a culture where family and tradition play such an important role, how are you both navigating the ghar ka shadi pressure from having? So today on Minds Behind Moves, we have two very young entrepreneurs, Dishan Chaudhary and Shruti Khetan, and we are gearing up for a very interesting conversations with two law school students turned entrepreneurs. So alright, let's just scratch our heads for a bit and let's rewind the tape for a second. That you both went to Jindal Global Law School, putting in all that hard work, countless hours of case studies, and probably a bit of caffeine-induced madness along the way. But now you're switching gears and diving into the world of entrepreneurship. Here you are trading the courtrooms with boardrooms. So, what are your takes on that?
So after law school, I did practice law for 2 years, and it was fun. I will not deny. I was lucky enough to have gotten myself an opportunity to work in one of India's biggest law firms, and I was doing work that I was loving. But eventually, the lifestyle got so much of me that I realized that I don't think this is something I can do for the rest of my life. And my father, being a businessman, had always wanted me to come back and join him. So उनके लिए मुझे को क्यों कर रही हो तुम? आओ, मैं तो कब से बोल रहा हूँ तुमको.
That is, I think, one thing so many people here face.
Yeah. But of course, I negotiated my salary before I came. I was like, I will only come back if you match my salary. Because I was a lawyer, but I was also a businessman's daughter. So now it's fun actually. I mean, because like we're doing so much. Our business is also very diverse. We have real estate, we have packaged drinking water, we have a school of our own, and so many other things that go along with it. And when it's your own business, then you have no other option but to give your heart and soul into everything that you're doing. So it's also fun because there's so much more accountability and responsibility कि कुछ गलत हुआ तो now the gun's on your head. Now it's not on the client. So it's been good though. It's tough, but it's crazy. I love it.
So I'm sure those internships and like as I can know, you've worked in India's one of the best institutes like CAM and SAM. Like what I could understand that for months you've interned there. So did that help you in the entrepreneurship journey that you have started here?
Not internships, but working at CAM for sure did. Because I think it gave me a very different lens of how to view certain things. Because having worked as an employee in a company, I knew what my employees would think if I acted in a certain way, or how they would perceive a situation. Because before I started working, I was always the daughter of the boss. So his lens and how he sees things versus how we as employees started seeing things कि अच्छा यार नहीं, if my boss is asking me to work on a Sunday, he should at least appreciate it, acknowledge it, right? But this is not something maybe my father may or may not have done, and I would have never noticed it if I had not faced it myself. So I think this is my biggest lesson having worked there, and discipline. I feel after going to college, like the whole school college life, you're forced into a certain routine because that's imposed upon you. And because I was working for somebody else, that gave me no option but to set myself in a life of discipline कि यार रोज सुबह उठ के ऑफिस जाना है. ये ऑप्शन नहीं है. You have to work these certain number of hours, so you have to meet your deadlines. Because I feel sometimes what happens with a lot of kids who do not do this, it's not necessary that it will happen, but it's possible that it could happen that because you join either you start your own thing, or especially if you join a place where your father has been heading it all this while, so you're always seen as the boss's son or daughter. So everybody else around you will always see you with with a different lens. So you will never get that कि अच्छा नहीं ये तो नहीं कर रहा है तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं. Very few people will have the ability to actually scold you if you're doing something wrong, if you're not being very efficient. So I think that
But your parents are
discipline-
always there. Your parents are always there to remind you.
Absolutely. But still, yeah, I feel it depends, right? So at some point they will also feel कि नहीं यार, he's my son. So, but I agree. My father is stricter than my boss in Bombay.
I can imagine.
He's very strict with me, which I really appreciate. I feel I feel I would have slacked off if it weren't for that at some point.
Yeah, and I feel like if that doesn't happen, then you take that privilege for granted. कि मतलब हाँ ठीक है मुझे सब बना बनाया मिल ही गया, but then you do it yourself, you know the hard work behind it, and you appreciate.
I'll tell you a very funny story. So when I moved back, so one of the first day I went to office, I was just about to start booking my cab, and I realized, oh, I don't have to book a cab
Little
today.
joys of like staying home.
Exactly, right? Like you don't have to decide कि अच्छा what do I get made for lunch?
True.
Tiffin में क्या लेकर जाना है? So it was.
It's not an easy life. Like
it's
living away from your
it's
family in a
not.
different
It's
city is not an easy
absolutely
life.
not.
I've recently shifted back myself, so I understand all that you're talking about, and so it's just that last night I was having this conversation with my father, and this is I mentioned I'm not here, this is not a right statement to say, but I'm like, more than you all, I missed all of these. I don't know. Yeah.
I think at some point, after a point, you need the basic comforts of home that you don't get when you're away from your family. That makes your life easier. Like you need your logistics to be in place where you just don't have to worry every morning to check your app, book an Ola, Uber, and run to your office. Here, at least you know that you have your car in place, so you can get office in time. So other important work doesn't get hampered.
Absolutely. You can focus your energy onto the more
And
important.
I think we should also acknowledge these privileges while we have them.
And I also feel like just adding to this कि बहुत लोग ये सोचते हैं कि अच्छा इनके पास तो सब कुछ easily available हो रहा है या फिर वो privilege, but they don't understand the kind of responsibility that brings along with it. That probably some people take it as a pressure, or some people just feel कि ठीक है कि I have to live upon it. कुछ भी ऐसा सोचे, वो लोग ये नहीं सोचते कि मतलब there is so many things behind it as well.
I absolutely agree, because I think I felt that way at some point in my life, because when I was younger I always felt कि people would think कि हाँ तुम लोग का क्या है, you're gonna end up joining your father's business. So for me it was always like, no, I have to prove myself. Like I have to show that I as an individual am capable of doing something on my own, and not just because my father has done something well for himself. Like now I appreciate what he's done so much more, but I think it was also important for me to do that for myself, to prove to myself. And like initially maybe when I was much younger, like in school, it started with ki nahi, I don't want the world to see me like that, but eventually I think what it shaped into was, no, I want to see what I can do. So I feel you're very correct when you say that like I feel that's also what people who think about nepotism in Bollywood.
Yeah, that's what I was. So I was just talking to him yesterday, and I was just thinking, कि अच्छा like what should we discuss? So we were thinking कि अच्छा what are the topics we should discuss on? And then when I mentioned this, then he was not keen on, or should we mention this or not, because we are a product of it.
But that doesn't apply in business as much, Like of course the next generation will have to take the business forward, but like I mentioned it to her, in terms of entertainment or like professional spaces, you need to have merit takes over legacy.
Absolutely.
You can't assign a judge's son judgeship just because he comes from that legacy, right?
Absolutely.
You can't assign a doctor's son, give him a PhD just because he's a doctor's son. So with business that doesn't apply. Even if you've not studied or done a graduate program, you can still take on your family business. So that difference always sticks.
I feel business anyway has always been more about experience and interest, right? Like
True.
our parents, my father hasn't done any sort of like he's
Courses.
an MBA or
Right.
any sort of big shot degree or any from a big college, nothing. But he is one of the best in what he's doing, right? I mean, I don't think it would take me years and years to learn what he knows.
But there's a difference,
So-
with with generations, like they come from a generation where India did not see so much wealth while their generation was growing up. With us, we have had the privilege to grow up in a certain environment, go to a certain kind of school, go to a certain kind of university, get that education, and take that business forward. Our parents started building the business from scratch, right? So they always had that, if it's a win or lose for them, like make it or break it. Agar if Because they did not see anything in their childhood, so they always had the thought at the back of their mind that I want to give my kids this much comfort while they grow up. For us, we have had that privilege, so we don't have to worry about passing it on to our next generation, because you have the base now. So that difference will always.
Yeah, and why should we leave that? That's what, like, if you're coming back, you might be, there are always pros and cons of these things. But again, like, why should you leave that if they've done so much for us? Why not appreciate it and take it the way it is, rather than, rather than having to prove this? Like, we should prove our capabilities more than, having to prove ki, okay, I have done it all by myself. Why, like, if I'm getting that, then why should I not take it and, grow it more than, rather than thinking ki,
Who else will also do it, right? We don't have, like, our family business structures, it's still not as formal as, like, I might say, like a proper
Like any
MNC,
MNC or
where you have people taking care of different departments on each level. So here, of course, things are more informal, where certain people take a certain department. For instance, Shruti, I think, looks after the legal and the marketing bit. So it's different when it comes to like a public listed company, and when you are running a
100%.
when you're running a homegrown brand in itself and trying to build that brand to a national level.
Hopefully turn it into an MNC someday.
that's a really, really nice vision. So you've been a part of the Imperial Group for almost 2 years now, and then you've taken on a significant role on overseeing both legal compliances as well as marketing. So, like, how do you balance those traditional approaches along with the modern digital strategies to enhance the visibility or appeal, or like, how do you?
I feel for me, the biggest advantage that I had was the people around me were very open to accepting new things, which often doesn't happen in traditional family run businesses, right? So, in fact, when I came, I was like, oh, why don't we have a website? Matlab, it's something so basic. We don't have an Instagram page, we don't have any social media. My father was like, go for it, do it. You take it, like you do it however you want to do, because anyway he's like, yeah, I am not of your generation, I don't know much about these things, you will do it better than I can, so go for it. And in a lot of ways I think he also felt that all this while, maybe marketing, for especially marketing, I feel was something that I started from scratch when I came, because before this for them also it was much easier because everything was happening just word of mouth. But eventually with the kind of projects that we're now bringing in, and we as a whole, all of us realize that no, it's actually important to build that brand image, not just among a certain kind of customer crowd, but among the entire public, and as much as we can, because that's how we can grow. We see all these builders, because we haven't been doing real estate per se for say half a century or something like that. We've only my parents, like my grandfather and my father and his brothers, they've been doing this construction for a long time now, but real estate per se is only say about less than 2 decades. So to bring that sort of recognition, that sort of brand value in people's eyes, we felt it was very important. And I feel in that sense, I really, really appreciate that everybody around me, and like right now, Dishant and I were talking how we started doing all these videos where people are speaking. So my social media team suggested me this, that we should start introducing people, because it sort of makes the content more relatable to everybody who's watching it. So honestly, my father is not somebody who I ever thought would make videos, but when I was like, no, you have to do it, he's like, "ठीक है." Like it took him a few attempts. Okay, like
Dads definitely agree to daughters at one
I
point.
think so. Because at this point, I've made everybody in my group make a video, and people are often shocked, like, "इनसे बनवा लिया तुमने video."
Only daughters can do it to their
Yeah.
dads. I totally agree.
So I think I sometimes take undue advantage of that within the family.
So now coming back to you, as you've taken up the franchisee of Jewel Box here in Guwahati, the focus on lab-grown diamonds is tapping into a rapidly growing niche within the jewelry industry. The demand for sustainable and ethical products is driving the lab-grown diamond market, especially among young consumers. So, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions about lab-grown diamonds, and how are you positioning Jewel Box to educate consumers and change their perceptions?
So I think the biggest misconception stems from the fact that when you mention a product as a lab grown diamond and there you're competing against a big diamond industry where they are trying to portray themselves as rare and unique, so people think that since it's lab grown, it's more it, it is kind of synonym to a fake diamond. So people think it's artificial, and why should we pay such a price for a diamond where we have a alternate option for artificial diamonds where you can get for say 200 rupees, 300 rupees, right? So the biggest mind shift that we as a industry in lab-grown in the, diamond space have to do is to make people aware of the fact that lab-grown diamonds are real diamonds just like natural diamonds, right? So the biggest difference is natural diamonds are called natural diamonds because they are born through natural processes in the earth's mantle, earth's crust, right? It takes millions of years for the diamond rocks to form. But if you take the same diamond seed, natural diamond seed, and put it in a reactor, it takes 21 days for the diamond rock to form. So the place of the diamond rock formation is in two different places. One is the earth, one is a reactor, which is called a lab. That's where the name comes from, lab grown, and one is grown in the earth, so it's called natural diamond. So the final output of each process is the same natural real diamond. Like the diamond is still real in both the places. So just like an IVF baby, you take a seed sample from both the mates and you keep it in a laboratory, but the final output is still a real baby, right? You can't call a baby a fake baby, right? So similarly, the final diamond that comes out of a lab, the final diamond that comes out of a lab is still a real diamond. All the properties are the same. All the elements, the shine, the brilliance is all the same. The qualities are exactly the same. And the base metal that we use is also gold. So in terms of investment, also say for example, uh, you take my ring that I'm wearing, right? This is probably worth 80,000 in lab grown diamond. You buy the same ring in natural diamond, it'll cost you say about 2.5 3 lakh rupees. But the major difference is you're paying 80,000 for the say 60,000 for the gold in this piece. You'll pay 60,000 for the gold in the natural diamond piece. But for the diamond, you'll be paying 2 lakh rupees in natural diamond. So the price difference that that varies is huge. एंड आप जितना मेकिंग दोगे नेचुरल डायमंड के लिए उतना में तो आपका ये पीस बन के आ जाएगा. सो व्हाई नॉट लाइक ओन अ पीस दैट यू कैन लूज सो मच मनी आउट ऑफ इन जस्ट द मेकिंग टर्म्स व्हेन यू बाइंग अ नेचुरल डायमंड and just enjoy your product, and when you come back to us we'll offer you 100% exchange in diamond as well as gold price, so you know that your investment is secure at a later date as well. So there are a lot of people who are trying to enter this space. Even natural diamond folks are trying to enter this space because they know that they're losing ground because people are slowly adapting to this concept. It's taking time, but people are adapting this concept, and they have started to believe that there's not as much value in natural diamond as they thought, because you know the the value of the natural diamond has diminished over the years, at least the 5 years, because of the demand and supply of the lab grown diamond. So there is a huge shift in terms of demand of natural and lab grown diamond both. And right now we have only penetrated say about 3 to 5% of the Indian market. So there's a huge uphill that we see in terms of what people are going to purchase when it comes to wedding shopping, wedding jewelry shopping. And we have just like touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to like this industry. There is so much scope that we still see in this industry. When we started our showroom in Guwahati, we only had 2 showrooms of Jewel Box in India, and within a span of 6 months, we have opened up 10 stores. So that asserts to our commitment towards this space. All the labs that make the lab grown diamonds, they are backed by solar panels. So in terms of sustainability and using power also, you're not using traditional energy sources like coal or other sources. So So it's in a way you're recycling the energy in terms of producing the diamond piece itself.
Yeah, that's a great factual check that we had. That was great to know.
100% because I've heard it from like mostly, I think our generation would be a little bit more
Conscious.
open to accepting lab grown diamonds, but more like our parents' generation and the generations above that. I think because I've heard them from say like people, my parents and their friends, and like, "Arey, but diamond to nahi hai na."
Exactly.
Because I think for them, because they've grown up seeing diamond as diamond, and so now there's something new that's come up, which is like sometimes 1/4 of the price
Right.
of a regular diamond. So for them, it's like how could this be true? It's too good to be true
Too
in a
good to
way,
be,
right?
right.
So. And but like I feel gradually even they are understanding that shift that like you said right
Exactly.
in the end of the it is a diamond.
It is
It's
a
only how it's processed is how it's different.
You know, it's funny. One
So-
very layman came to me and he's like, he gave me another analogy. He's like, think of lab grown diamonds as natural diamond as an ice piece that you found on a mountain, and an lab grown diamond is an ice piece that you find in your
Fridge.
refrigerator. So it's just that both are ice pieces, right? You can still have it, you can still eat it, you can still use it to store your food, to freeze them. So it's just that, like, take that analogy and think that the final output is still a real ice. There's no difference. Your parents will not tell you that okay, don't drink cold water from your refrigerator. Of course, like it's still like drinkable, right?
But Nishna, I have a question. I
Yeah.
mean, how well is this market sort of maintained? Because say if I buy a LG from Jewel Box
Right.
versus if I buy it from some other jeweler,
Right.
how am I to know? Like in general diamonds, we have the certificates, right?
Right.
So is the government also doing something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
100%. So the institute that certify natural diamonds, which is mainly IGI, GIA, SGL, the same institutes, they certify lab grown diamonds as well. So once we make a piece, a diamond jewelry piece, the products are sent to those institute. They certify those diamonds. They grade those diamonds into different color, clarity, carat categories, and only once they approve of them, we pass on the product to the customer. So it's not me labeling the product saying that this diamond is of D color, VS2 clarity in 2 carat. Of course, I will make the piece, but the piece is then sent to those institutes.
Yeah.
They certify them. They
So it
they
is
have their
certified.
processes,
Yeah.
and then we pass on them to the customer. So it's totally authentic. And with lab grown diamonds, the thing is the union government is now trying to push this product is because natural diamonds are mostly mined elsewhere, like say Africa or Americas, and there are huge costs related to mining and labor, and they're imported to India. Then the jewelry is made in India. Mostly the cutting and polishing is done in Surat, and then the final pieces are sent abroad for like consumer consumption. So with the lab-grown diamond production in India itself, you are saving in all those imports. So the cost gets deducted.
So
That's why the
promoting
difference
Make
in
in
the
India,
price.
right?
That's why the difference in the price. And the union government is very keen on doing this because then you can grow the diamonds here, you can make the jewelry here in India itself, and then export that. So it should push the Indian economy as a whole.
Also promoting Make in India.
Exactly,
eventually.
exactly.
Yeah, so also Hydros has been a standout homegrown brand in Assam, and now it's taken a bold leap into the premium segment with a special edition for the hospitality industry as well. So, what was the inspiration behind the shift, and how did the partnership with John Abraham and Northeast United FC come about?
It has been an eventful year for us. So the premium production is something we'd had in the pipeline for a while now, because we realized that the regular product that we have, which is the Hydros that has been in the market for almost 12-13 years now, it's one of the most top selling products. I mean, from among all other brands, apart from the national level brands like Bisleri and Bailey, Hydros is the most top selling brand in the whole of Assam. Like nobody sells as much as we do. Touch wood. I mean, so, but we realized that because of the kind of product that we were offering, we were only being able to sell in, say, like the local kirana stores and
Right.
into the general public otherwise. But we were not being able to tap into, say, restaurants or hospitals and other places where you want a slightly more premium looking product, a more sturdy product. So, which is why, so we've been doing it, planning it for a while, but when I came, that time was when we were like, no, we have to do it now, like it's high time. So then I was shown like a packaging that they were proposing to make, and I'm like, this is not looking premium. Like I am not like if now that I'm here, I can't let you like package
Yeah.
this as the premium. So I actually got in touch with one of my friends, who's a friend of mine from law school, and we used to work together for our cultural fest Biswa Mill at that time, and he used to do all the designing for
काफी
Biswa
connections
Mill.
बनाए हैं आपने.
बनाना
Through
ही
Biswa
पड़ेंगे
Mill.
यार, अच्छे कॉलेज जाके क्या फायदा फिर नहीं तो.
Yeah, but it helps. Networking always helps in
Absolutely. I
college.
don't think anything like I feel people do masters a lot of times only for networking more than just say an MBA, especially a lot of people do it solely for networking.
And you never know who our lawyer friends are gonna end up become later in the future.
Absolutely, because that's what you were talking, right? Like it's so funny how we met in law school, but neither of us actually practice law
Yeah.
right now, and that's true for so many of my friends from my class in law school. I think at least like 30-40% of them do not practice law anymore. At least not pure law. Say might be like me कि अच्छा अपना family का business है तो you know you're doing the legal part of
Yeah.
it, but you're also doing other things
Right.
as it goes. But pure law, there's so many people who just leave it behind for various reasons. But coming back to the premium water, like one of my friends, I reached out to him and I'm like, yeah, I want it to be something different. I want it to be something that the Guwahati market has not seen.
Right.
So which is why, like, if you've seen our premium bottle, it shows you the touch of Assam. It has a rhino. It
Yeah,
has the
yeah.
green tea
And where do you
plantations.
get produced?
Guwahati. So we have 3 plants.
Right.
We have one in Guwahati, one in Ranjali, one in Teespur.
Okay.
So that way, the one with John Abraham and Northeast United was something that was a pleasant surprise to all of us.
Okay.
When they approached us to be their pouring partners, we were all like, wow. Like, it also made us proud that at least we have reached that level where, you know, we are also being seen by players who perform on a national level, right? So it was a very exciting opportunity, and it also gave us a lot of national recognition. Even though, I mean, I feel in general, football is really growing as a sport now. But in the Northeast, especially in Meghalaya, I realized, and for me, this was a whole educational experience because before this, I had zero knowledge
Yeah.
about football. I mean, I met John Abraham because of this, and he was telling me something about one of the players. So we also released one limited edition bottle with the players on
Okay.
to also help them, because we also want that if we are doing this partnership and we are selling so much of Hydra's bottles in a month, so we also want that we can help them and promote their brand and their the sport in general, right? So he was telling me something about one of those players who was there, and I was just like, I wish I knew what you were telling me about, but
It creates a certain kind of brand value, no? When a
Absolutely.
certain personality is
absolutely
like
100%.
having a Hydros water in front of like the whole of India and the world.
Absolutely.
Like it creates a certain brand value for your entire company.
That was a very proud moment for us.
Yeah, the
and
sense of
having-
achievement, like, "Acha, okay, I have done
100%. So for me, like the two of these, like being behind the launch of our premium water and this NUFC partnership has been like two of my milestone achievements in the last 1.5-2 years that I've been here. So it's been good.
So also, before deciding onto the franchisees for Mama Gotu and Dhaba that you have, what were the key industry factors that you evaluated? And also, franchising offers a scalable model, but it also comes with its own set of challenges in terms of quality control and maintaining the brand ethos, especially in the food industry. How are you ensuring that all franchisee locations maintain the same level of quality and customer service that Mama Gotu and Dhaba are known for?
Right. So I think we were instrumental in developing the city center mall when it was coming up, and we thought we should like bank on that space because there was not a single mall that was catering to like one-stop solution for the entire people in the northeast region right now. The kind of crowd that city center caters to is almost exceptional, right? Like you have people from all 7-8 states coming to like Guwahati over the weekend or for work purposes, and they make it a point to visit the city center mall and like make a purchase there. So I think for us it was the location that really like was the deciding factor. So one of our partners who's based out of Gurgaon, he really got in touch with the franchisee owner brand, which is Azure Hospitality, and he came up with the idea that we should come up with these two restaurants. And before that, we had also met with a couple of other brands, including Social, but their terms were not suitable in terms of the kind of commission they were offering to the franchisee owners, which is us. So we locked in on with Mama Koto and Dhaba. And to be honest, having a franchisee, at least for us, has been a boon because for a day-to-day operation model, we don't have to worry about like who is making your food, what is the recipe for the kind of food that you are offering to the customer, because it's all tailored by the company itself, and it's a standard format throughout India, right? So now I don't have to sit and decide every month, every week what kind of food that I'll be serving to my customers. It's all set. Chefs are of course trained by the company itself, and they're sent to Guwahati. We provide them accommodation, which works well for us. For the managers, the ARM, again, they are trained by the company itself. They're sent to us. We hire them. They're on our payroll. But for the steward, the lower level staff members who are on the floor working day in day out, we have the prerogative to hire them and take over the operations business. So it really helps, having your own brand and trying to build itself given the kind of competition that we have right now. And of course, like having a national food chain in your city, which is a tier 2 city.
Absolutely.
So people kind of relate now. Like I have all my friends who are based out of like big cities like Bombay and Delhi and Bangalore. Whenever they hear that, okay, something as big as Mama Goto is in Guwahati, so they can resonate with that kind of food,
Absolutely.
right? So it's really a win-win for the franchisee owner as well, and also the brand owner. So really, that's about it.
Yeah, so city-wise, I'm sure it really creates an impression, as you said. So, which coming back to my question, so after experiencing life in metro cities and abroad, which you both have, do you think, as you just mentioned, that it creates an impression to your friends outside? Do you think Guwahati offers the same opportunities and lifestyle for young professionals like yourselves? So you have stayed in Guwahati before living in metro cities. You're back again. So,
Right.
what are the changes do you see? What is it like? You want to go first?
I feel so when we were growing up, I actually am not born here. I
Okay.
was born in Calcutta, then we moved around a bit. I was in Tezpur, which is again a smaller town. And then we moved here when I was in fifth grade. So after that, I was here for the rest of my school life. So honestly, that time the Guwahati we saw then versus the Guwahati we see now, it's almost 10 years, 8, 9 years now. So we see a whole different
Right.
world.
100%.
It's changed so much. It's evolved so much. There is so much scope for growth here that it's unbelievable. And I feel like this is something I've often told people that when I went to college, and Jindal being a college where you would expect people to be from all parts of the country and not just the country. Like one of my best friends is from Dubai, so
Right.
so from outside India as well. So when I'd initially gone, I had this thought in my head, this sort of inferiority complex that in the end, I'm brought up in like a smaller city, and there'll be people from all of these big cities, fancy schools, who would I be in front of them?
इसने मुझे भी डराया था before I
हाँ.
actually got inducted into Jindal. She was like, be careful as to who you interact with because they come from a certain background and certain.
So, but then like eventually you realize that no. Honestly, the kind of schools that we went to
True.
and the kinds of education we got and
True.
the kind of exposure they pushed us to get. I honestly, a few months in, I was like, no shit. Like,
I think individual पे भी depend करता
Yeah,
है ना. Like
absolutely.
I've had folks from Doon and Wellams, and when I was in my first year, like I realized like I'm better off
Exactly,
than
right?
most people who come from
Exactly.
such prestigious college. So it's more of an individual thing than like an
Absolutely. I
institutional.
feel even at a school level, because our schools did offer us so many opportunities,
Hmm.
and because we chose to make use of those
Right.
opportunities is why we turned out to be the people we are today. I mean, honestly, we met much later, but if you had seen me when I was like younger, like in class 7 or 8, you wouldn't believe I am the person I am today. I was like an introvert. I was never a popular kid in school.
Ah.
But I feel certain opportunities that I got, some places that I was forced to be in, they gradually shape
Shape.
you to be the people you are today.
So me myself being in college, I realized that whenever I used to see somebody from Guwahati, like most of them were like leading a club, being a president of a club, and I
Right.
see, and like so these was a response that I got from my friends कि हाँ तुम लोग तो हो ही ना all rounders, मतलब तुम academics में भी कर रहे थे, because okay I wasn't fond of studying उतना, but I used to somehow score marks, like not to boast,
I
but
think it's
yeah,
most of
Parchi.
us.
Yeah.
Same story.
Parchi.
you can call that, even that is a skill, so you have to give me that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not boosting it, but yeah, they always had a keen eye on it कि हाँ तुम हर जगह हो, मतलब तुम कहीं भी चले जाओ, तो पूरे बॉम्बे में भी, Bombay being such a huge city, you go to any place, any college, and if there's somebody from Guwahati, they'll be doing something in life,
Right.
even if not academically. So many, like somebody would be doing theatre, somebody would be doing an internship there, मतलब कोई ना कोई कुछ ना कुछ कर रहा है. So I think that is what our background speaks, मतलब
100%.
So that's a true story, no? Like when you come from a certain background and a place, you are more driven than the people who are at a
Absolutely.
certain level in tier 1 city, right? Like जो हमारे former ISRO के chairman थे S Somnath. So I was reading up on about him a little bit, and he comes from a background where he used to like cycle to his school from his home, right? He comes from that background, and like just recently he has sent like a rover to the Mars, and like he successfully landed like a satellite on the moon. So like when you read about those things, you of course you can resonate more with those people, because people from certain backgrounds, small places, tier 3, tier 2 cities do much better than people who are in top cities.
So, like, apart from these, are there any shifts or new trends that you would like to see that could make the city more progressive, which like still preserves the kind of culture that it already offers? कुछ ऐसा जो आपको लगता है कि जो the city still needs something of this kind. So you said ना कि अच्छा अभी बहुत सारे changes already आ चुके हैं, the kind of mindsets और कुछ भी, तो something that still needs to be there, मतलब कुछ gap है.
I mean, one thing that I've noticed being in the real estate industry is कि जैसे so right now when we build commercial buildings, a lot of brands that are based in Delhi or Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, they're not as keen as to come to Guwahati as they would be, say, to go to one of the other cities in the north or like the mid of India. But once they reach Calcutta, no, they get like a certain comfort कि अब हम East India आ गए तो North East भी जा सकते हैं.
Okay.
So, but I feel what they don't realize is that Guwahati is such an important market because it's not just Guwahati, it is the whole of the Northeast. It is your gateway to the Northeast, and
Right.
the people in the Northeast, especially when you look at, the traditional people from Guwahati, they are from Assam or Northeast, whichever. They love, especially for apparel companies, for instance, they love you. When I go to some other cities, I realize that people in Guwahati invest so much more
Right.
into, they are so particular about how we want to present ourselves and so proper that way, right? So a lot of brands don't recognize this or acknowledge it that much yet. And I really hope that happens because there is so much scope for all brands, all companies to sort of come here and work here. And just hope that happens. And it is happening gradually. It is. We've seen so many more, like, especially with City Center coming up, we saw so many of those brands, which it was a big thing at that time, right? When all of these Aldo and Gant and all of these
Right.
brands, we'd never seen them in Guwahati earlier. So it's a big shift, and now we are seeing so many more great commercial properties coming up, and so much
Some of
more
them being
development
by
happening.
Imperial Group.
Yeah, so like in promoting high-end developments like the address that the Imperial Group is coming up with, what are the feedbacks that you received from residents and investors?
So initially, I was not as actively involved in the business when it happened, but from what I've heard from everyone when they were, there was a lot of apprehension from the general public कि अरे you're introducing, like, since you're talking about the address with such bigger apartments and like at such high prices, so from people were a little apprehensive कि बिकेगा ही नहीं. But when we did, and we also have like a couple of premium commercial properties that we've just developing right now, we're just developing them. So when that happened, it was something that Guwahati needed, people in Guwahati wanted that kind of thing. Matlab, because there was nothing like today. There are very few offices that when you enter, you will feel like, oh, it's such a beautiful office, like, so formal, so professional. Till 5 years back, it was not there. But now that culture is gradually coming in, and now we are seeing so many more good premium commercial and residential properties coming in where people want to invest because people want that lifestyle now. So I feel that time that shift had just started to come, and it was a great decision at that time. I mean, there was a lot of apprehension from people, but it turned out to work well for everyone.
But is it still a great investment vehicle in terms of where you want to park your money? Like, I can understand 20, 30 years back, it was was at a very nascent stage, right? So people who invested in land and real estate, their wealth multiplied by like 100x or like say 500x also. But right now, if a person like me, I want to invest in say a commercial space or a residential space, and I buy it for say around 2 CR today, will I see my money multiplying by say 100x 20, 30 years from now?
I really hope so because, especially with so much investment being promised to come to Assam, with Advantage Assam happening and so much commercial opportunities developing here, I really feel, I mean, that these kind of investments will actually be really fruitful in the future because Guwahati is a really, really booming market. And right now, if you compare it to any other city, the real estate is still much, much more affordable.
So trajectory is
sense.
upwards, and
It's
you are positive
definitely
about it.
100%. 100%.
I think for me, hygiene plays a major. Environment and hygiene is a very big factor in terms of what kind of lifestyle I see for myself. So ये जो हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में हैबिट है ना, मतलब आप कहीं भी रास्ते में चले जाओ, यू विल सी अ गुटखा स्टेन एवरीवेयर, बी इट ऑन द रोड, बी इट खुद के घर पे या ऑफिस स्पेसेस में, like there
In
is
the
a stain
lifts.
somewhere, the lifts,
In every lift.
everywhere. So I think that is one space that I would want people to improve. Like you want to impart education to like the public in general at large, how it affects like our general hygiene in the society. And to be honest, to give the credit to the current government, I would say that the kind of planning they have for the infrastructure in the northeast now, it's a long term planning, because like the for instance the ring road that the government has planned, it's not just कि मेरा term है, मुझे कुछ project लाने हैं तो मैं बना देता हूँ. Earlier I think maybe they did not have the foresight to see कि यार what does the state need, what does the country need, so they would just like make small flyovers in small pockets, right? And right now they're having to build like massive flyovers everywhere so that the connectivity gets better, and these are long term visions.
So we talked about business a lot. Now one question that might address to a lot of young audience. Growing up in a culture where family and tradition play such an important role, how are you both navigating the ghar ka shadi pressure if you are having the last phase?
I think Nishant, I would want you to answer this first.
मैं तो यार मैं
She was all in for answering the questions for with this, but on you.
No, because
नहीं, so see, I believe in family planning, of course. Like every culture has their own notion about like marriage and work and everything. But I think for me, family planning is important. It's important to get married at the right times, be committed to your family, and then of course then you have all the time in the world later to like focus on your work and like look at the next stages of life, right? Like some culture, they believe that this is the time to focus on work, and then they get married later at say 35, 38. But with that, what happens is there's a gap in terms of the next generation that comes up, so it's difficult to pass on the business to your younger generation. So
Not
that
just
works well
business,
for
I
people
feel.
who are from professional background, who are
and
doctors,
it's not
lawyers,
just
teachers.
about business. I feel it's generally also like you would not get so much time to spend with your kids. You won't be able to grow
Exactly.
old with them, right? Like,
Exactly.
like for our parents, because they were so much younger when
Right.
we were born. I mean,
So for me, I think I
they're
believe
still so young. I mean,
I believe in growing together as a human and with your partner, and I think it just makes your life much more easier. Than I think the run up to marriage, that the stress that
I-
you have for the run up to marriage, it's much more than once you are done and settled with the partner, then you have a better vision about your life ahead.
I agree. I think like I'm on the same page as you.
Ah.
Like I think when we were much slightly younger, we had a different vision about this whole
100%.
thing. But as you grow thoda older, I've realized that like it's so true that if say another 4-5 years from now, we're all going to be so much more stuck up in our own ways that
Right.
having to live with somebody new and adjust to their lifestyle and them adjusting to your lifestyle will be so much tougher. and I think all of us want that love and
100%.
that companionship, right?
I'm in that phase right now, so
Yeah.
it's a little difficult to agree, but yeah.
But tell me, since we're talking about traditions, like, मैं बहुत curious हूँ. What do you think of the role that religion plays in our daily life?
I don't know about religion per se,
Uh-huh.
but I feel there's something I've always heard my mother say that you feel this superpower. There's always there's something that's there.
Right.
Some power that's always like guarding you. And I'm not religious per se, but I feel at any time at flight, if I feel like a major turbulence, maybe the Hanuman Chalisa nikal jati.
Right.
So I feel it's all about what you believe. In any religion, in any culture, any tradition, it's all about your beliefs, right? If you don't believe it, nothing matters to you. And if you believe it, then kuch bhi ho jayega, then you will
True,
think you
true.
okay, like something.
Superstitions will matter.
Exactly.
True, true.
So
My
it's-
mantra is very simple. For me, it's like karma is dharma. So I believe in like doing good deeds, and like I believe if I can just channel my energy to my work and doing like good stuff, like helping people out in even the smallest ways, I think that gives me more strength to like do better in my everyday work.
But so smart of the both of you to just navigate the conversation. That still doesn't answer my question.
You
So
did
are
answer
we?
your question.
No, but like, do we see two big fat Indian weddings coming up anytime soon? Like, how do you want to answer that?
We can cut that
No,
This
See, this was your suggestion.
out. We can cut that.
he suggested to ask it to you, but he's not willing to answer.
No, my question was like, how will marriage play a role in your life in terms of you taking your business forward, given that you might not be, like, assuming you might not be in the same city, right? Like for us, I think it's a choice that we get to stay as a male member of the family. We get to stay in the same city, but like, if suppose you're married off in Calcutta or
That's
Delhi,
not something I want.
of course that's not something you want. So then you get to keep your role and carry your business forward. But like,
That's the plan.
So that's it. That was it from my end. I
Okay.
hope नहीं और कुछ है नहीं तो मैं तो end कर रही थी वो line बोल